Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. My brother slapped my seating chart onto the counter and laughed. Not a cute laugh either, it was that loud, cocky one. Ink smeared under his thumb like he wanted a fight. And I knew he did. I'm Marissa, 29, and I still hear that paper hit. I was already running on fumes and caffeine. I had a pen in my hand like a tiny weapon. Caleb saw it and leaned in anyway. You forgot someone, he tapped a blank spot hard. His finger left a dent in the paper. I blinked like my brain was buffering. Because I did not forget anyone. I didn't forget anyone, my voice came out sharp. I tried to smile and it looked like a grimace. Caleb's eyes flicked toward the hallway. Like he expected an audience. He pulled out his phone and turned the screen at me. A contact name filled it like a dare. Dazo. He watched my face for a reaction. I snorted because what else do you do? You're kidding, I pushed the chart back at him. He didn't take it. He held his ground like a bouncer. His mouth tightened, then he did that soft voice. The one he uses when he wants something. Just invite her, his palm stayed flat on my paper. Like it belonged to him now. I stared at his hand and felt my face heat up. Not anger at first, embarrassment. Because my brother was begging in public mode. And I could tell he practiced this. Why, one word, no patience left. Caleb's shoulders rose like he was harmless. She's been through a lot, his eyes dropped. Then they snapped back to mine too fast. That little snap did it. It felt rehearsed and sloppy at the same time. I crossed my arms and waited him out. He hates silence, so he filled it. She doesn't have many people, he shrugged again. She'd love it, his smile flashed then vanished. My pen clicked again and again. And that sound made him flinch. Since when are you her event planner? My words came out meaner than I meant. Caleb's jaw moved side to side like chewing rage. Then he leaned closer, too close. Don't make it weird, his voice went low. The audacity hit me like cold water. I wasn't making it weird. He already was. I pushed the chart under a folder to hide it. It was a petty move, but I needed control. Caleb reached for it, then stopped. Like he remembered where he was. You're being dramatic, he rolled his eyes. I laughed once, dry as dust. You're the one acting like this is life or death. He didn't laugh back. He shifted his weight and tried a new angle. She just needs a nice night, his hands went up. And you owe me, he let that hang. That was the first real punch. My stomach tightened because he was right and wrong. I did owe him things. But this felt like a trap dressed as family. And I hated that he knew it. You're cashing that chip in for a wedding invite. I kept my voice steady, barely. Caleb's lips parted like he wanted to argue. Then he went quiet, which scared me more. He tapped his phone again and slid it across. It stopped near my pen like a challenge coin. Tessa's number, he nodded at it. Like the deal was already made. I stared at the screen and felt this stupid pressure. The kind that makes you do things just to end it. I didn't want to fight, not tonight. So I did the wrong thing fast. I picked up his phone and copied the number. My fingers moved like they weren't mine. Caleb's shoulders relaxed just a little. That tiny relief made me feel sick. Thank you, he smiled like a winner. I tossed his phone back at him harder than needed. He caught it and pocketed it quick. Then he said the part that changed everything. Put her near Evan, he said it like a favor. My breath caught in my throat. I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. What? My voice cracked, which annoyed me. Caleb's eyes went wide like I was slow. Near the front, he pointed at the chart's top row. Just do it, okay? My chest tightened because now it had teeth. It wasn't about her being included. It was about placement and access. And my brother was acting like that was normal. You want her watching my fiancé. I let the words sit between us. Caleb's face twitched, then he tried to laugh it off. Too late, I already saw him. He threw his hands up and backed away. You're twisting it, his tone got sharp now. I'm trying to help her, he paced one step. And you're making it gross. That switch flipped something in me. He blamed me the second I questioned him. Like I was the one being creepy. I felt my grip tighten on the pen again. Tell me the real reason. My voice came out calm, which surprised even me. Caleb looked past my shoulder again. That hallway glance returned like a habit. He rubbed the back of his neck, slow and annoyed. She and I are close, he shrugged casual. She trusts me, he forced a smile. And she listens to you. That last line hit hard. He wasn't asking because he cared about her. He was asking because I was useful. And I felt stupid for not seeing it. Sooner. I stepped closer until he had to look at me. Does she even want to come? Caleb's eyes slid away just a fraction. That was enough. Of course she wants to, he snapped back too fast. Then his voice softened again, fake calm. Don't overthink it, his fingers drummed his phone. And don't tell Evan yet. I froze. That wasn't a normal request. That was a secret with sharp edges. And my brother had just dropped it in my lap. Before I could answer, footsteps hit the hallway. Evan's voice floated in, cheerful and tired. Caleb straightened like nothing happened. He flashed that same grin, perfect and empty. I turned toward the sound and forced a smile. My face felt stiff like a mask. Caleb slid behind me, close enough to whisper. Just text her tonight. I typed Tessa's number with my thumbs shaking. Then I stared at the blank message like it could bite. I hated that Caleb forced this through me. So I hit send anyway because I wanted quiet. Hey, it's Marissa, wedding invite question. That was my whole opener. No warmth, no smile through the screen. I figured she would ignore it, but she didn't. Her reply popped up in under a minute. Hi, yes, thank you. Then another bubble arrived before I could breathe. What time will Evan be at rehearsal? I read it twice, then a third time. My brain tried to be generous. Maybe she meant the couple, not him alone. But she typed his name clean and specific. I didn't answer right away. I set my phone down like it was hot. You know that little internal alarm you dismiss. Mine started screaming and I still tried to hush it. I walked into the living room with the message open. Evan looked up from his laptop and smiled. I almost blurted it out, then swallowed it back. Because Caleb told me not to mention it. I hated myself for that choice later. In the moment, it felt like keeping peace. I told myself it was one weird question. That lie tasted easy, so I kept chewing it. I typed rehearsal starts at 6. I added we'll both be there. I watched the typing dots appear instantly. It felt like she was hovering over her keyboard. Great, is Evan doing a speech? My throat tightened on reflex. I never told her anything about speeches. So why was she already mapping that out? I answered with a short no. Then I added a polite smiley face. That was me trying to patch a hole fast. Her dots came back before I even set my phone down. Okay, where will he be seated at dinner? I actually laughed, but it sounded wrong. Not funny, more like a bark. My hand went stiff around my phone. I walked straight to Caleb's place and knocked hard. No text, no warning, just a knock with teeth. He opened the door half-dressed and annoyed. Then he saw my face and shifted his stance. I held my phone up inches from him. Explain this, my voice stayed low. Caleb's eyes flicked to the screen and away. Like the words burned him. She's just trying to plan, he rubbed his forehead. She gets anxious, his tone went flat. Then he tried a laugh that did not land. Stop acting like she's a criminal. I stepped closer because I was not letting it go. Why is she tracking my fiancé? Caleb's nostrils flared like I insulted him. He leaned on the doorframe and played bored. You always assume the worst, his mouth curled. Maybe she wants to avoid awkward moments. That sounded reasonable for half a second. Then it fell apart in my head. Avoid awkward moments by targeting Evan's seat. Avoid awkward moments by asking about his speech. That was not avoidance, that was strategy. And Caleb acted like I was the unstable one. I asked him one more time, slower. Did you tell her to ask me this? Caleb blinked too long, then scoffed. His silence did the talking. He pointed at my phone like it offended him. Just answer her and move on. Then he softened his voice like a switch flipped. She'll feel welcomed if you don't act cold. That little lecture made my cheeks burn. He was framing me as the problem again. And part of me wanted to accept that role. Because conflict with Caleb never stays small. I went back home and tried to act normal. Evan asked if I wanted takeout. I nodded too fast, like a kid hiding a report card. Then my phone buzzed again right on cue. Tessa sent a photo of a dress laid out on a bed. Is this too much for your day? It looked fine, not wild. Still, I felt like I was being tested. I answered with, that works. Short and safe, no opinion. Her response came with zero hesitation. Will Evan like it? My stomach dropped so hard I sat down. I stared at the message until my eyes watered. It was so bold it felt unreal. Like she forgot I was the bride. I didn't reply, not yet. I walked to the kitchen and ran water. I watched my hands like they belonged to someone else. Then I went back and typed something bland. He'll be focused on the wedding. I sent it and regretted it instantly. I was trying to see. Correct her without starting war. I can admit that now, coward behavior. Tessa replied with one word. Sure. Then she added, where will Caleb sit? And that's when I realized she was counting pieces. I screenshotted the whole conversation. My thumb moved on instinct, fast and defensive. I didn't know what I planned to do with it. I just wanted proof for later. The next day, Caleb showed up at my place unannounced. He walked in like he owned the air. He tossed a bag of iced coffee on the table. A peace offering that felt like a leash. He kept his tone light and casual. So, did you invite her? I nodded once, stiff. His shoulders loosened like I handed him a gift. Good, he clapped his hands once. Then he leaned in and lowered his voice. Put her close to us at the reception. He didn't ask, he directed. I stared at him until he looked away. You mean close to Evan? Caleb's eyes snapped back fast. His face went blank like a mask dropped. He tried to recover with a shrug. Close to the family. Then he added, she belongs near the front. His words landed like a shove. I pushed the table plan toward him. Pick a normal seat and stop. Caleb didn't touch the paper. He just tapped the top row with one finger. That spot, his finger hovered near our table. Then he looked at me and smiled small. Not friendly, more like confident. And I felt the ground shift under my feet. My phone buzzed again before he even left. Tessa again, like she had a timer running. Can I stop by the rehearsal space early? And I knew it was about more than being punctual. I yanked Caleb's suit bag off my couch and tossed it back. He caught it with a grin that felt too steady. My hands were already trembling and he noticed. That smug look told me he had another demand. Before you freak out, hear me out, he raised one finger. I kept folding place cards like I could fold my nerves too. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. Move Tessa to the head table. I stopped mid-fold and stared at him. My brain did that slow rewind like I missed a line. The head table is for the wedding party. Caleb's mouth tightened like I insulted his intelligence. She won't bother anyone, he waved a hand at the air. She'll be quiet, his eyes flicked toward the hallway again. That glance wasn't casual, it was calculated. Like he was tracking where Evan might appear. I set the cards down and leaned forward. Why are you obsessed with her seating? Caleb's face twitched, then he tried to look amused. You're making this dramatic on purpose. That line made me see red. I could feel my jaw lock like my teeth might crack. You keep acting like this is your event. Caleb stared back, unblinking, like he wanted me to break. He softened fast, which felt worse. You don't get it, he dragged a chair out and sat. Tessa needs to feel safe, he tapped his knee. And you can help, so help. I hate admitting this, but I stalled. Part of me still wanted to be the reasonable one. I asked the safest question I could manage. What did you tell her about tonight? Caleb's eyes shifted for half a second. He reached for my planner and I slapped his hand away. Do not touch my stuff, my voice came out thin. He smirked like I proved his point. She might come early to rehearsal, he shrugged. She wants to settle in, he spoke like it was normal. My throat tightened because I never offered that. So you invited her early. Caleb leaned back and crossed his arms. I didn't invite her, he lifted his eyebrows. She asked, his tone dared me to argue. Then he added, Evan won't mind. That name landed hard. I stared at him like I misheard. You keep saying Evan like it's your business. Caleb's smile thinned into something sharp. You're marrying him, he pointed at me. That makes him our business, he said it like a rule. I wanted to throw something, but I didn't. I just swallowed it and hated myself for it. I told Caleb no again in plain words. His face shifted like he hit a wall. Then he stood and stepped close enough to crowd me. Don't embarrass me tomorrow. The word embarrass made my skin crawl. I blinked fast and forced my voice steady. This isn't about you, I held his gaze. Caleb's lips pressed into a flat line, then he smiled. You'll thank me, he reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a small box, then hesitated. It wasn't a joke gift or party favor. It was a ring box and my pulse spiked. I didn't ask, I grabbed it. Caleb lunged, but I was quicker than he expected. The box clicked open in my hand. A ring sat inside like a loaded weapon. Caleb froze, then went pale. He held his hands out slowly like I had a bomb. Close it, his voice went tight. Right now. I stared at the ring and felt my chest squeeze. Not because it was pretty, because it was timed. He brought that to my house on purpose. He wanted it near my wedding like it belonged there. You're proposing. At my wedding. The words came out flat, almost calm. Caleb's eyes flashed, then he looked away. Don't say it like that, his tone turned warning. I snapped the box shut and kept it. He reached again and I stepped back. You didn't ask me, I shook my head. You planned it and called it a favor. Caleb's shoulders rose and fell, fast and tense. Relax, he forced a laugh that sounded strained. It's romantic, he swallowed hard. And it's the only shot I've got. That last line cracked something open. He wasn't talking about love, he was talking about control. I wanted to feel sorry for him, and I did. Then I remembered Tessa's questions and my pity died. You're using me as a stage. Caleb's face hardened like the mask dropped. You owe me one day, he jabbed a finger at my chest. You can share attention for 10 minutes. I pushed his finger away and my hands shook again. I'm not sharing my wedding, my voice rose. Caleb leaned in until his breath hit my cheek. Then don't ruin it. That phrase landed like a threat. My mouth went dry and my thoughts started racing. I could see the headline in my own mind. Bride freaks out, brother humiliated, family sides chosen. Caleb stepped back like he won. He smoothed his shirt and nodded at the ring box. You didn't see that, he kept his voice low. And you will place her up front. I wanted to scream at him. Instead, I did the pathetic thing, silence. Because I could already hear my mom blaming me. Because I could already imagine Evan asking why I'm panicking. Caleb reached for the box again and I gave it back. My fingers felt numb as he pocketed it. He patted the spot like it was precious. Then his phone lit up and he glanced down. I saw the name on his screen before he hit it. Dazo. Caleb's thumb hovered, then he typed fast. He looked at me and smiled like he had a script. What did she say? Caleb tucked the phone away and shrugged. Nothing you need to worry about, he headed for the door. Just don't be weird tomorrow. After he left, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I stared at the place cards like they were suddenly hostile. I told myself I was overreacting because that's my hobby. Then my own phone lit up with a new message. Tessa will arrive early. The text came from a number I didn't recognize at first. Then I saw the little contact photo, Caleb's. He had sent it from her phone and that chilled me. I stood there for a long time, not moving. My head filled with questions I didn't want to ask. Why did he have her phone? Why was he texting for her? And why did it feel like I was already losing tomorrow? I slapped Caleb's hand off the microphone stand. He smiled like I was play acting. Then he tightened his grip and pulled it closer. Right there, right before my own reception. Not yet, my teeth barely moved. Caleb's eyes flicked past me toward Tessa. He gave her a quick nod, small and private. That nod made my chest go tight. You know when a room feels staged for someone else. That was my whole night in one sensation. I forced my face into a neutral shape. Then I stepped between him and the mic. Caleb leaned around me like I was furniture. Relax, I'm doing the quick toast. His voice had that smooth confidence he saves for crowds. My hands curled into fists at my sides quietly. I scanned the front tables without meaning to. Tessa was already seated where Caleb demanded. Not beside him though, she angled toward Evan's side. She kept her posture calm like she belonged there. Evan noticed me watching and lifted his eyebrows. I nodded like everything was fine. That lie stuck in my throat and burned. I hated how easy it looked from the outside. A server passed and Caleb stepped in my path again. I told you it'll be clean. He patted my shoulder like he owned the moment. I wanted to shrug him off, but cameras were everywhere. I walked away before I did something loud. My maid of honor grabbed my arm near the bar. You okay? Her eyes searched my face. I forced a smile that didn't reach anything. Just wetting brain, I squeezed her hand too hard. She looked toward Caleb and frowned. Then her gaze slid to Tessa and stuck there. Because Tessa was not watching me. Tessa's eyes kept drifting to Evan's place setting. Not the plate, not the drink. The space beside him like it had gravity. And every time Evan shifted, she tracked it. I tried to get Evan alone for a second. He was surrounded by relatives and polite hugs. Every time I moved closer, someone pulled him away. It felt like the night itself blocked me. Then Tessa stood up and glided toward the dance floor edge. Not dancing, not mingling. Just waiting like she had a scheduled slot. My pulse kicked up at that. Caleb moved too, casual and fast. He cut across the room and intercepted her path. They spoke with their heads close together. No smiles, no laughter, just business. I couldn't hear their words, but I saw the T. Raid. Tessa tilted her phone toward him for 1 second. Caleb tapped the screen with quick confidence. Then he handed it back and walked away. My maid of honor caught my stare. What is that? Her voice came out low. I shook my head like I didn't know. That was a lie, but I still couldn't explain it. I cut toward Tessa before I could rethink it. She turned and smiled at me like we were friends. I'm so happy for you, her tone stayed light. Her eyes didn't match it, not even a little. Thanks, I kept it short and steady. I glanced at her hands, phone face down, fingers tense. You doing okay tonight? I watched her reaction. She nodded a little too quickly. It's beautiful, she lifted her chin toward the head table. Then she leaned closer with fake warmth. Evan looks great, you picked well. I felt my face flash hot instant. I laughed once, sharp and small. That's a strange thing to say to a bride. Tessa blinked, then gave a tiny shrug. Just being honest, she whispered like that made it fine. My mouth went dry. I wanted to snap at her, I really did. Instead, I did the polite thing because I'm predictable. I stepped back and let her slip away. She didn't go to the restroom. She didn't go to a group of friends. She drifted straight toward Evan's table with purpose. And Caleb was watching from across the room. Evan looked up when she approached. His smile flickered, then reset into polite mode. That flicker lasted half a second, still enough. I felt my stomach twist hard. Tessa leaned down near Evan's shoulder. She didn't touch him, which almost made it worse. Her lips moved close to his ear like a secret. Evan's face tightened, then he nodded once. I pushed through a cluster of guests to reach them. By the time I arrived, Tessa was already walking away. Evan kept his eyes on his drink like it was fascinating. I stopped beside him and waited. What was that? I kept my voice soft. Evan's jaw worked like he was choosing words carefully. Nothing, just saying congrats. His answer landed wrong, heavy and rehearsed. Before I could press, Caleb clapped near the DJ booth. He raised the mic high like a champion. Hey everyone, his voice boomed and stole the room. My heart slammed against my ribs. I stepped forward, but my mom grabbed my wrist. Let him do his thing. She smiled like this was adorable sibling stuff. I pulled my hand free and forced myself not to argue. Caleb lifted his glass and searched the crowd. His eyes landed on Tessa like a spotlight. He held that gaze for a beat too long. Then he spoke again, smoother, louder. This day is about love, he spread his free hand. People cheered because people will cheer at anything. Caleb's eyes never left Tessa's face. I felt my skin crawl. Tessa smiled back, small and controlled. Not grateful, not touched. More like she was waiting for her cue. That thought punched me in the gut. Caleb kept talking, but his words were noise to me. I watched Evan instead. His phone was on the table near his elbow. His fingers hovered near it like he expected a signal. Then the screen lit up. A name flashed bright enough for me to catch it. Tessa. Evan's hand moved fast and too fast. He flipped the phone face down like it was nothing. But I saw one line before it disappeared. After the toast hallway. My throat tightened so hard I almost gagged. I leaned closer to Evan, careful with my smile. Why is she messaging you right now? Evan's eyes darted to mine, then away. His lips parted, then he swallowed. It's not what you think, he spoke through his teeth. That sentence is basically a confession, by the way. My hands went cold and my brain went loud. I nodded like I believed him while I didn't. Caleb's toast rolled on and people laughed at the right spots. I barely heard any of it. All I heard was that one line on Evan's screen. And the way Tessa kept checking the hallway like a timer. I tried to catch Caleb's eye. He wouldn't look at me. He kept his attention on Tessa and the crowd. Like I was background now. I walked toward the hallway entrance, slow and casual. I needed to see if someone would follow. My heels felt like anchors, but I kept moving. Halfway there, I felt a presence behind me. Tessa slid up beside me like we were friends again. Her smile was perfect for photos. So sweet that toast, and she tilted her head. Her eyes flicked to the hallway, then back to me. You enjoying yourself? My voice sounded calm somehow. Tessa's smile tightened at the corners. More than I expected, she inhaled slow. Tonight feels right, she added, soft and loaded. I wanted to grab her wrist and drag her outside. Instead, I did the polite thing again because I'm cursed. Well, don't wander off, I kept smiling. Tessa's eyes widened like she almost laughed. Oh, she pressed a hand to her chest. You're worried, her voice turned playful. Then she leaned in and lowered it. You should be, she murmured and walked away. My breath caught and my body froze for a beat. That wasn't an accident, that wasn't a misunderstanding. That was a warning delivered with a grin. And Evan was still sitting there with his phone face down. I turned back toward the tables and spotted Caleb. He was stepping off the DJ platform, flushed with triumph. He looked straight at me for the first time all night. Then he mouthed two words without sound. Trust me. His smile widened like he expected obedience. I felt something inside me shift, hard and final. Because I knew the next move was coming fast. I grabbed Caleb by the sleeve and dragged him into the hallway. He stumbled, then laughed like I was being cute. My grip tightened until his laugh died. His eyes sharpened, finally serious. What the hell are you doing? My voice stayed low. Caleb lifted his hands like he was innocent. You're spiraling again, he tried that calm tone. I stepped closer and blocked the exit behind him. Don't do that to me, I jabbed my finger toward the ballroom. Your toast, her texts, Evan hiding his phone. Caleb's face flickered, then he forced a shrug. You saw one message and built a whole movie. I stared at him until the silence hurt. He shifted his stance, annoyed now. Then he leaned in, eyes bright with something desperate. It's not that deep unless you make it deep. I laughed once, sharp and tired. You brought a ring, I watched his reaction. Caleb's throat bobbed like he swallowed a rock. His gaze slid away, caught, then returned hard. Keep your voice down, he checked the doorway behind me. His palms pressed together like a prayer. Yeah, I brought it, his words came clipped. And I need this to work. Need, not want, not hope, need. That word told me everything about his mindset. I felt a flash of pity, then it curdled. Because my wedding was his leverage. You plan to propose tonight. Caleb nodded like it was obvious. She'll say yes if the energy is right. He smiled like he could manifest consent. Energy, I repeated it, disgusted. Caleb's face tightened, then he got defensive. Don't judge me, he pointed at my chest. You don't know what it's like. I did know, though. Not the same way, but enough to smell obsession. He wanted a win more than a relationship. And he wanted me to hand him the spotlight. I lowered my voice even more. Is she even into you? Caleb's eyes flashed, then he scoffed. She cares about me, she just needs a push. A push? That phrase made my stomach flip. Like she was an object on a shelf. I took a slow breath and kept my face flat. Stop using my wedding like a trap. Caleb's jaw clenched. It's not a trap, he shook his head fast. It's a moment. I almost snapped right then. Instead, I asked the thing I feared most. Why is she texting Evan? Caleb blinked, then his expression changed. Not surprise, not confusion. It was annoyance, like I asked about weather. He let out a breath and rubbed his face. Then he gave me a half smile, tight and ugly. Okay, he nodded once. You want the truth, his voice dropped. She still wants him, he said it like a fact. And I can fix that. My brain froze, then surged. I felt heat rush up my neck. You can fix that, I repeated it, stunned. Caleb tilted his head like I was slow. If she sees him up close, she'll snap out of it. He spoke like a coach giving strategy. She's chasing a fantasy, he flicked his fingers. And fantasies die in real life. I stared at him because what do you even say? He brought her here to cure her crush. Using my fiancé as exposure therapy. Using me as the cover story. That's why you wanted her near us. Caleb nodded again, almost proud. She needed to see him as just a guy. His mouth twisted into a confident grin. I stepped back like he hit me. You're insane, the word slipped out. Caleb's smile fell off his face. Don't call me that, he snapped. I held up my phone, screen bright. She asked about his speech. Caleb waved it away like nothing. She was fishing, that's what she does. Fishing? Like he knew her patterns well. Like he watched her aim and still fed her bait. I felt sick because he sounded practiced. So you brought a ring anyway. Caleb's eyes hardened. That's my part, he tapped his chest. If she gets rejected again, she'll fold into me. I blinked hard because I hated that it made sense. Not in a romantic way, in a predatory way. He was planning to be the consolation prize. And he said it out loud like it was normal. No, I shook my head. You're not doing that here. Caleb leaned in, voice sharp. You can't stop me. I got right in his space. Watch me. Caleb laughed under his breath, but it sounded shaky. Then he looked past me toward the hallway opening. I followed his gaze and my stomach dropped. Evan stood there, half in shadow, face tight. He looked like he heard enough. And he looked angry at me. What's going on? Evan's voice sounded controlled. Caleb switched to charm instantly. Nothing, family stuff, he clapped Evan's shoulder. Evan didn't move with it. I stepped toward Evan before Caleb could steer him away. Tessa is messaging you, my words came fast. Evan's eyes narrowed, then he exhaled. It's not like that. That line again. That same lazy defense. My chest tightened and my hands went cold. So what is it? Evan looked at Caleb for half a second. That glance told on him more than any confession. Caleb lifted his brows like a warning. Evan swallowed, then spoke anyway. She reached out months ago. Evan stared at the floor. Just chatting, his voice went quieter. She got flirty, he rubbed his forehead. And I should have shut it down. The world tilted for a second. I felt embarrassed first, which is messed up. Like I was the fool in the room. Then anger flooded in, clean and bright. You let it keep going. Evan's mouth opened, then closed. It wasn't serious, his voice cracked. I never met up with her. Caleb stepped between us like a referee. See, he held his palms out. It's fine, he smiled like he solved it. I wanted to slap him for that. Then Tessa appeared at the hallway entrance. She walked up like she belonged in the conversation. No hesitation, no shame. Her eyes landed on Evan first. You're hiding, she smiled at him. Evan stiffened like her voice was a trigger. I turned to her and felt my jaw lock. Why are you here? Tessa looked at me like I was the inconvenience. I'm here for closure, she said it smooth. Then her eyes slid back to Evan. And for honesty. Caleb stepped closer to her, hopeful and eager. You deserve better, he touched his chest. I've been here the whole time. Tessa didn't even look at him. That was brutal. Caleb's face fell in slow motion. He kept his smile glued on, but his eyes broke. And he still tried to salvage it. Tessa, his voice went soft. Tonight can be a fresh start. He reached into his pocket, then paused. His fingers hovered like he sensed danger. Tessa finally looked at him. Her expression was calm, almost bored. Don't one word. Caleb froze with his hand half inside his jacket. I stared at her and felt something click. She knew about the ring. She knew about his plan. And she was still here anyway. You used my wedding, my voice shook now. Tessa's gaze returned to me, flat and cold. I didn't force anyone, she shrugged. I asked for what I wanted. Evan flinched like he got hit. He took a step back from her. Caleb looked like he might puke. And I just stood there holding my breath. I made a decision that surprised even me. I turned and walked back into the ballroom. My heels felt like weapons with every step. People smiled at me, clueless and happy. I went straight to the DJ and took the mic. The DJ hesitated, then handed it over. My voice came out steady somehow. Quick update, no more speeches. A wave of confused laughter ran through the room. I kept my smile glued on like a survival skill. Dinner is starting early, I nodded toward the staff. And I need the wedding party outside now. My maid of honor moved first, eyes wide. A bridesmaid followed, then another. People stood up because a bride asked. The room shifted like a tide turning. Caleb walked in a second later, face strained. Evan followed behind him, eyes down. Tessa stayed near the doorway like she was watching a show. That image is burned into my head. I stepped off the mic and pointed toward the exit. No yelling, no begging. Just a finger and a look that meant enough. Caleb's mouth opened, then shut. Evan took one step toward me. Please, his voice shook. I didn't answer him. I just kept pointing, steady and silent. Caleb tried to pull his mask back on. Don't do this, he moved closer. I held up my phone with the screenshots ready. Caleb stopped cold when he saw it. Walk, my voice came out low and flat. Caleb's eyes darted to the crowd behind me. He knew what would happen if I spoke louder. So he turned stiff and headed out. Evan followed, slower, like his legs were heavy. He looked back once, searching my face for mercy. I gave him nothing because I had nothing left. That hurt more than shouting would have. Tessa stayed for half a beat longer. She met my eyes and smiled, faint and smug. Then she walked out too, unbothered. Like my wedding was just a venue to her. The door shut behind them with a hard sound. People murmured, confused and hungry for gossip. My mom rushed up, panic in her face. What did you do? I looked at her and felt strangely calm. I protected myself, I kept my voice firm. My mom blinked like I spoke another language. And I realized I didn't care anymore. Dinner started, music played, people tried to recover. My maid of honor squeezed my hand under the table. I stared at the empty space where Evan should have been. And I understood something I wish I learned sooner. I thought my wedding was a finish line. It was actually a test. Caleb failed, Evan failed. And I passed by finally choosing myself.